So maybe you're pursuing financial freedom and you want to use real estate to do it, but you're not exactly sure how. And maybe you've actually flipped some houses or you have some rentals and you're finding it hard to scale, or maybe you haven't done that yet, but you're trying to figure out how to actually get there faster. If you have some real estate investing background and you've done a transaction or two, then you understand the benefits of real estate, but you also understand it's very difficult to scale. And I'm going to talk about this today in this video and help you to make a better decision about which real estate strategy actually gets you the fastest result. Hey, my name is Michael Blanc, and I've made it my mission to help people become financially free with real estate. And I've tried so many different things in real estate and non-real estate. I flipped houses that had rentals, but I also got into a restaurant franchise and things of that nature. And some things worked better than others. Some things didn't work at all. I want to share you the result of that in this video. And typically when people invest in real estate, they're thinking single family house investing, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, or flipping houses, or the BRRRR method and things of that nature. But there's some problems that each of these challenges, these real estate strategies have. Now, I have a flipping background. I flipped 3 dozen houses, so I feel myself relatively accomplished. But the thing is, it's a lot of work, right? If you're not buying, fixing, and selling houses, then you're not making money, right? And then if you do sell it, there's no residual, right? It's not really passive income, what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And also very difficult to scale, right? Most people can handle one flip at a time. It takes 6 months. You make $50,000 per flip, let's say. So most people can handle 2 flips a year. $100,000 is pretty cool, but what if I wanted to 10x that, right? Very difficult to do. I tried to do it, but it was a lot of work. In other words, I could do more, but I had to work harder for it as well. And so to me, that wasn't really scalable. And then I thought, well, what about some single family rentals? What if I just stop selling and build a portfolio? But let's say you get each property cash flow $200 per month, right? You would need like 50 houses. You need 50 houses to make $10,000 per month, and that's a lot of houses. I spent 3 years flipping 3 dozen houses. It would take me 5 years to accumulate a portfolio of 50 houses, and then you'd have to finance it and somehow run it and operate it all, and that didn't seem very scalable to me. And so to me, my biggest frustration with real estate investing early on was scale. How the heck do I scale this thing? And of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is silent on that for the large part, and you're left kind of to your own devices. Hey, if you like this video and this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss anything that I come out with. And we come out stuff every week or so, and you don't want to miss that. So what's the solution, right? The solution is multifamily real estate, which I discovered a little bit by accident in 2011 when I got a 12 unit from one of my wholesalers I was buying the flips from. And I looked at it and I kind of shrugged my shoulders and went, oh, sure, let's do that. And I did it all on my own because I felt like I was an accomplished real estate investor, but I discovered that multifamily real estate is a different game. You can't just take your single family house investing strategy and then apply it to that. And one of my biggest mistakes was, well, I guess you can call it arrogance or overconfidence that I could do it myself. And I made a variety of errors. Once like for example, I bought in the Washington, D.C., and I shouldn't have bought there. A mentor would have told me, don't buy in the district. It's too pro-tenant. Then I had a professional tenant there, didn't know how to deal with it because my property management company could not or did not have any background with Section 8 properties like this. And so I flailed around. Took me 18 months, ran out of money. Basically, it was a disaster because of I thought I could do it myself, but then it finally quieted down and sent me $1,500 per month in passive income. And that's when the light bulb went off. Like the light bulb went off and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually real income. And I don't need to have 50 of these buildings, right? And so multifamily appears to be the answer. The problem that I hear a lot is that a lot of people think that it's a very advanced strategy. They need 5 to 10 years of experience, and then they'll save up the money to actually get into this asset class. But the truth is you don't actually need to do that because you can learn how to build a team around you and leverage their track record, and you can learn how to use other people's money. But the thing about it I want to talk about here is how scalable and more passive it is than some of these other strategies, right? Because what I can do with multifamily, because the revenue is higher than a single family rental, I can afford a professional property manager, which is very difficult to do on the single family house side because you'll get some kind of part-time real estate agent and they'll take 10% of your income. That's why so many landlords actually manage their own property. Now, if I want to scale a business, every time I buy a building, I now add more work to my list. Now I'd have to go hire someone possibly, maybe bring in an employee or something like that, and now I have a bit of a management overhead. Versus multifamily, because the revenue is higher, I can put in a professional manager. And so what I can do now is I can buy a building, right? Buying a 12 unit, 20 unit building is maybe just a little bit more work than buying, say, a duplex or short-term rental. A little bit more, but not like 10 times more, right? So it's a bit of work, just like any other transaction to get the deal done. But then I can put a professional property manager in there, and then I can do it again and give it to the manager and do it again. Therefore, I can scale without actually having to work harder. And so to me, this is why multifamily is much more passive than single family houses. And it's also more scalable because of what I'm talking about here. And the thing you may not know, one of the things that's also attractive is not only I can put one on top of each other and build wealth in that way, but it's this thing about these profit centers of a syndication. And so you have to understand that when you're syndicating, you're becoming a general partner and you're partnering with limited partners or LPs. The LPs put up all the money and then the general partners do all the work, right? So if you're the general partner, you're doing all the work, but you get paid for that and you get paid handsomely. The first way you get paid is through this thing called acquisition fees. Acquisition fees typically are 3% of the purchase price. So if you're doing, let's say, a $4 million deal, that's $120,000. And you're probably going to have a partner. That's usually what we talk about a lot is joint ventures within the general partnership. So you can maybe have a partner. Maybe you're the deal finder and your partner's the capital raiser or the other way around. So you're splitting $120,000 acquisition fee when you close. You don't have that in single family houses, right? You don't get paid when you buy something. With syndication, you do get paid when you buy. Then you get whatever 20, 30% of the equity, the sweat equity you get for being the GP. You get that as well. So you get cash flow and profits at the end. And typically for a $4 million deal, you're expecting about $200,000 of cash flow over the life of the project, which is typically 5 years, and the cash flow, and then about another $200,000 for the GPs when you sell down the road. And you also get to charge asset management fees, typically for a property this size, about $12,000 a year. So if you add all those profit centers together, it's generating about $100,000 on average between fees and cash flow and profit, plus the $120,000 in acquisition fees. That's $620,000 in income from a single $4 million deal. That's pretty cool. So I can scale this, and it's very lucrative from an economic perspective, but I can repeat it without having to work harder. And that to me is a secret of building wealth, right? I want to build wealth. I want to keep it over and over again, but I don't want to keep working harder. And this is really why I believe multifamily is the ultimate wealth builder out there. So hopefully that's helpful for you in trying to understand how can I invest in, how can I scale my real estate portfolio.